Every night, Marcus dreamed of murder. Not just shadows or symbols, but exact details. Rooms he'd never been in, victims he'd never met. And when one of those dreams matched a real crime scene, down to the bloodstain on the carpet and the word carved into the floor, he did what anyone would do. He called the police. But what he didn't know was that the dreams weren't just visions. They were invitations, and someone, or something, was waiting for him to follow. It started on a Wednesday night just after 2:13 a.m. The man's name was Marcus Hale, 32 years old, quiet, low-key IT consultant from Portland, Oregon. No criminal record, no history of mental illness, and no explanation for what would soon take over his life. That night, Marcus jolted awake drenched in sweat, his chest pounding as if he'd run a marathon. He had just seen a woman die. Not in real life, in a dream. But this dream was unlike anything he had ever experienced. In the vision, Marcus had been standing in a hallway of a house he didn't recognize. The walls were faded green. One of the light bulbs flickered overhead. He walked past family photos that he could swear were real. Down the hall was an open bedroom door. Inside, chaos. A bed flipped over. A body crumpled next to the dresser. Blood splattered up the wall in streaks that made no sense. And carved into the wood floor beside the body was a word. Stay. Marcus didn't know what it meant. He woke up just as the dream version of himself turned around, because something behind him was whispering his name. He shook it off. Bad dream. He didn't watch horror movies. Didn't drink. Nothing weird in his diet. But the next night, it came again. Same dream. Exactly the same. Same hallway, same green walls, same woman, same position of the blood spray, same word carved into the floor. This time, Marcus stayed in the room longer. He noticed the woman's hair was red. She had a butterfly tattoo on her shoulder. Her hand was curled as if she tried to crawl before dying. Again, he woke up sweating and confused. And the next night, it happened again. And again. And again. After a week, Marcus began writing it all down. He wasn't sleeping. He started sketching the room. Then he began Googling. Butterfly tattoo murder Portland. Nothing. Bedroom murder unsolved woman 30s. Nothing. But then he tried something else. He opened Google Maps and started scrolling through street views in his city. He didn't know what he was looking for, but his stomach dropped when he passed a house in Gresham, a suburb just outside Portland. A one-story greenhouse with a cracked driveway and a porch light that flickered. Marcus felt like he couldn't breathe. That was the house. From the dream. He drove out there the next day. Mid-afternoon. Parked across the street and just stared at it. Everything was the same, except one thing. There was no for sale sign. No sign of life. Just silence. The windows were covered from the inside with old newspaper. He took a photo. Zoomed in. Through a crack in the blinds, he could just barely see the wallpaper. Faded green. Marcus stumbled back into his car. He didn't know how he knew, but he knew. He had seen something real. Something that had happened inside that house. He went home and started researching every incident tied to that address. It took hours, but finally, he found it. February 19th, 2003. A woman named Elise March had been found dead in that exact house. Murdered in her bedroom. The case was never solved. The police said there were no signs of forced entry. The only piece of evidence left behind was a single word carved into the wood floor next to her body. Stay. Marcus dropped his phone. He sat on the floor of his apartment in total silence for nearly an hour. The next morning, he called the Portland Police Department. He didn't know what to say, so he told them the truth. I've been dreaming about a real murder. The detective who took his call, Detective Lana Briggs, was polite but dismissive. Sir, this is a 20-year-old case. There's no new information. But Marcus told her details, exact ones, that weren't in any public file. The tattoo, the floor layout, the color of the hallway walls, the position of the photos on the wall, and the word, carved. That got her attention. She agreed to meet him the next day at a coffee shop in Beaverton. Marcus showed her his sketches, his dream journal, and the photo he took of the house. Briggs was calm but rattled. She didn't know how this man knew these things. And then he dropped a bombshell. He said, "I saw something in the most recent dream that I hadn't noticed before. There's a necklace on the floor next to her foot. It has a pendant on it, a silver leaf. Can you check the crime scene photos?" Briggs blinked. That detail was never released. Not to the press. Not even in court. It was kept out intentionally. She left the meeting with 1,000 questions. But Marcus only had one: "Why am I seeing this?" That night, the dream changed. This time, Marcus wasn't just seeing the murder. He was inside it. He was walking the hallway in someone else's shoes. The angles were lower. The movements were different. He was holding something. A key. He walked into the room, not after the murder, but before. And he saw the woman alive. She was brushing her hair. She turned and gasped. And then, Marcus woke up. But this time, he wasn't sweating. He was freezing. Because when he sat up, there was something in his hand. A necklace. A silver leaf pendant. Marcus threw it across the room and just stared. He had no idea how it got there. No one had been in his apartment. Nothing had been moved. He picked it up with gloves and put it in a Ziploc bag. The next morning, he called Detective Briggs again. She told him to come to the station immediately. When he arrived, she took the necklace and had it rushed to evidence processing. Marcus sat in the waiting room for nearly 2 hours before she returned. Her face was pale. "It's a match," she said. "Elise March was wearing that necklace. We couldn't find it in the house. It wasn't stolen, but it wasn't at the scene. And now, it's here." Marcus didn't know if he was helping the case or becoming part of it. That night, he didn't sleep. But the next morning, he did something no one expected. He drove back to the greenhouse in Gresham, parked across the street, walked up the cracked driveway, and knocked on the front door. No answer. He tried the doorknob. It opened. Slowly, Marcus stepped inside the house he had only seen in his dreams. The floor creaked under his shoes. The hallway was exactly as he remembered it. Faded green walls. A single bulb flickering overhead. He passed the family photos. Walked toward the bedroom door. It was half open. The air was heavy, stale, untouched. And then he heard it. A faint whisper from inside the room. "Marcus." And that's when everything changed. Marcus stood frozen in the threshold of the bedroom, unsure whether he had just heard someone whisper his name or if the weight of his own fear was beginning to take on a voice. The room smelled like stale wood and old dust. The air so still it felt like time itself had stopped inside these walls. The bedroom was exactly as it appeared in his dreams. The dresser, the broken lamp, the stain on the carpet where the body had been. But there was no body now, just absence. He walked slowly toward the far wall, where the word "stay" had been carved into the floor. And it was still there, faded, worn by time, but unmistakable. He dropped to his knees and traced the letters with a gloved finger. Then he looked up and realized he wasn't alone. In the reflection of the cracked mirror above the dresser, a shape moved behind him. He spun around. Nothing, just a shifting shadow near the closet. Heart racing, he slowly stepped forward and pulled the closet door open. It was empty, except for a single wire hanger swaying gently back and forth, as if someone had just taken something off it. He backed out of the room and left the house without closing the door. That night, he didn't sleep. He couldn't. The dreams didn't come, but something else did. An email, sent to an address he didn't recognize. No subject line. Just one sentence. "You shouldn't have gone inside." Attached was a photo. A still frame of him standing in the bedroom earlier that day. Taken from behind, like security footage, but there were no visible cameras in the house. He called Detective Briggs immediately. She didn't pick up. He left a voicemail, then called again. And again. Still nothing. He barely made it through the night. By morning, he drove straight to the precinct. Briggs wasn't there. Gone. Transferred. Just like that. A younger detective, Santiago, took him into a conference room. Marcus explained everything. The dreams. The house. The photo. The email. The necklace. Santiago just stared at him. Then said, "There's no record of that necklace being submitted into evidence. No case file update. No note in the chain of custody." Marcus felt like the floor had dropped out from beneath him. "What about Briggs?" he asked. Santiago hesitated. "She's on extended leave. She didn't tell anyone where she was going." Marcus drove home feeling like the walls were closing in. Every car behind him felt like it was following him. Every face on the sidewalk seemed to be watching. That night, the dreams came back, but different. This time, it wasn't Elise. It was another woman. Same house, different bedroom, different decade. Everything looked older. A record player spinning in the corner. A rotary phone off the hook. This woman had short black hair and wore a dress from the 1980s. The room was ransacked. And once again, on the floor beside her body, was that single word. Stay. Marcus woke up screaming. The clock said 3:12 a.m. His hands were shaking. He grabbed a pen and paper and began sketching the room. Every detail. He didn't even notice until half an hour later that there was dirt under his fingernails. Real dirt. Fresh. He checked his shoes. They were clean. The front door was locked. Windows shut. He lived alone. He stared at the dirt for 10 full minutes before realizing what it meant. He had been somewhere. Not just dreaming, but going. He didn't know how, but something was pulling him into these places. Through time, through space, through memory. He brought his sketches to the public records office the next morning. Took hours, but eventually, he found it. The room matched a house that had been demolished in 1994 after a double homicide. Victim's name, Julia Masten. Case still unsolved. Cause of death, blunt force trauma to the head. Suspected domestic abuse, but never proven. Police had few leads. No signs of forced entry. Just a single word carved on the bedroom floor. Stay. Now it wasn't just one dream. It was two. Two murders. Two women. Two eras. Same message. Same signature. Marcus returned home and stared at himself in the mirror for a long time. Then he opened his laptop and typed out everything. Every detail, every dream, every address, every name. And emailed it to the Portland PD, the FBI, and 2 local journalists. He didn't care if he looked insane. He knew what he was seeing was real. And then came the knock at his door. 2 officers. Plainclothes. They asked him to come downtown. Said they had some questions about his recent involvement in an ongoing investigation. At the station, they didn't take him to a conference room. They put him in a holding cell. Took his phone. His keys. Asked if he wanted an attorney. Marcus was confused, then panicked. "Am I under arrest?" he asked. "Not yet," one officer replied. They interrogated him for 6 hours. How did he know the details of the Elise March murder? Who gave him the necklace? Why was he trespassing on sealed property? Why had he been near the location of a different murder scene from 1983? Marcus kept saying the same thing, "I dreamed it." But the officers weren't buying it. Finally, one of them pulled out a manila folder and tossed it on the table. Inside were surveillance photos of Marcus, near crime scenes, sitting in his car for hours. Once, even walking across a field near the ruins of the second house. The officer leaned in and said, "You either did this, or you're working with someone who did. Either way, you're involved." Marcus felt like his brain was unraveling. His heart pounded so hard he thought it might stop. "I didn't kill anyone," he whispered. "I'm not the one doing this." But then something happened that shifted everything. He fell asleep. Right there, in the interrogation room. Just closed his eyes for a second, and boom, he was back, dreaming. But this time, the killer was standing in front of him. Not a blur, not a silhouette, but a face. Calm, smiling, familiar. He wore a jacket with a sheriff's patch, and he said only one thing. "You're dreaming of me now, Marcus. That means we're getting close." Marcus shot awake. He was screaming. The officers rushed in. He was drenched in sweat, clawing at the table. They dragged him out and put him in a cell. He sat in the dark for hours, hearing echoes of that voice. A few days later, he was released. No charges, yet, but he was told to stay available. As he walked out of the precinct, a journalist was waiting. She said, "You're the guy with the dreams, right?" Marcus nodded. She handed him a card and said, "I believe you." Then she whispered, "You're not the only one." That night, Marcus lay in bed with every light on. But eventually, sleep came. And when it did, the dreams returned. This time, there was a third woman, a third murder, a third message. But this time, the dream hadn't happened yet. The victim was still alive. And Marcus knew he had to find her before the killer did. Marcus hadn't slept in 2 days, but when his body finally gave in, the dream hit like a freight train. He was standing in a suburban kitchen, brighter than the others, modern, a vase of fresh flowers on the counter. But even in the glow of daylight, something felt wrong. A ticking clock on the wall seemed too loud. A dog barked outside, then went silent. And then he saw her, the next woman, mid-30s, auburn hair, wearing headphones, humming softly while unpacking groceries. She had no idea what was coming. Marcus tried to scream, to warn her, but his voice made no sound. He felt frozen, as though he was watching from behind glass. Then the front door opened. She didn't hear it. A shadow entered the hallway. A man in dark clothing. Same gait, same build, same eerie calm. Marcus focused on the man's face, but again, blurred, like the dream was hiding something. The man pulled out a crowbar from under his coat, raised it, and just before he struck, the woman turned. Their eyes met, and then Marcus woke up. He grabbed his sketchpad and drew everything he could remember. The kitchen layout, the calendar on the fridge, a note stuck on the corkboard. Therapy, 3 p.m., Tuesday. He called the journalist who had handed him the card. Her name was Riley Ward. Told her everything. She asked one question, "Did you see a name?" Marcus flipped back to his notes. He remembered the mail on the kitchen counter. One envelope had a name written in blue ink, Caitlin Hargrove. Riley was quiet for a moment, then said, "That name came up in a case I researched months ago. Domestic violence report. She filed against her husband, former sheriff's deputy. Case was dropped. No follow-through. Her current address was sealed for privacy." Marcus's blood went cold. "She's going to die," he whispered. "I saw it. I saw the moment." Riley made some calls, pulled a favor from someone at the county clerk's office, got the address. It was less than 10 miles from Marcus's apartment. They drove together, arriving just after noon. Riley knocked. No answer. She knocked again. Still nothing. They were about to leave when the door creaked open. A woman peeked out. Caitlin. Confused. Guarded. Marcus said, "We need to talk. Please. It's about your safety." Caitlin let them in, reluctantly. The moment Marcus stepped inside, he felt it. This was the place. From the dream. The same smell of lavender dish soap. The same creaky floor near the pantry. The calendar on the fridge. The dog outside. All real. He looked at Caitlin and said, "Do you know someone who wants to hurt you?" She froze, then sat down slowly. "My ex-husband. He used to be a cop. He threatened me when I left. I've moved 3 times since then. No one's supposed to know I'm here." Marcus showed her his sketch. Her face went pale. "This is my house," she whispered. "This is my kitchen. Riley asked, "When did you last hear from him?" Caitlin answered, "A few days ago. I got a package. No return address. Inside was a photo of me sleeping, taken from my bedroom window." Marcus and Riley looked at each other. This wasn't just a coincidence anymore. It was a countdown. They called Detective Santiago. He didn't believe them. So Riley went live on her blog and posted everything. The dreams, the sketches, the murder links, the fact that a third victim was still alive. It went viral. Within hours, a swarm of people were watching Caitlin's house. Reporters, locals, paranormal fanatics. Police finally showed up to secure the area. And that's when they found it. A camera, hidden in a tree, pointed directly at Caitlin's bedroom. Inside the camera was a memory card, images from multiple angles, some taken from inside the house. The police realized they had a stalker, a dangerous one, but there was still no ID. That night, Marcus couldn't sleep. He sat in his apartment watching the live stream of Caitlin's house. Police had set up motion lights, extra patrols, everything. Just after 2:47 a.m., the feed glitched, froze for 6 seconds, then resumed. Caitlin was still asleep, but something was different. Marcus rewound the feed. In the 6-second freeze, a shadow had appeared on her patio door. He called Santiago. The police stormed the house. No one was inside, but in the backyard, they found fresh footprints, leading to the woods. And in the tree line, they found a torn piece of dark cloth caught on a branch. It had a partial patch sewn into it, the edge of a sheriff's badge. It matched the one Marcus saw in his dream 2 nights earlier. Riley went digging, found an old article from 1995 about a sheriff's deputy named Connor, accused of misconduct, transferred, then quietly dismissed. His last known residence? The same suburb where Elise March was killed. Riley traced his movement across the years and noticed a chilling pattern. Every town he lived in had an unsolved murder involving a woman. Always the same crime scene. Always the word "stay." She showed the map to Santiago. He brought it to the task force. For the first time, they had a real suspect. They just didn't know where he was now. Marcus had another dream that night, but this one was unlike any before. He wasn't in the crime scene. He wasn't watching the murder. He was underground, in a room made of concrete. A table in the center. On it, a binder. He opened it. Inside, photos of every woman who had died. Elise, Julia, others. Then Caitlin. Then another woman he didn't recognize. And under that, a page with handwriting. Subject 7 progressing. Visions increasing. Psychic imprint confirmed. The final page had a list of names, all crossed out, except one. His, Marcus Hale. He looked up and saw a mirror, but his reflection wasn't his own. It was a man in a black coat, smiling. Marcus woke up screaming. This wasn't just a serial killer. It was an experiment, and he was the subject. Marcus stared at the mirror in his dream, heart pounding, as the reflection smirked back at him. Its eyes his own, but not. They glowed with something ancient, calculating, and cruel. He reached out toward the glass and his fingers passed through it, as if the boundary between him and the reflection no longer existed. The walls of the underground room dissolved into smoke, revealing flashes. Elise's body, Julia's terrified eyes, Caitlin's panicked breath, the sheriff's badge buried in the mud, the word "stay" scrawled on floorboards, mirrors, walls. The sound of whispering voices crescendoed, a cacophony of all the victims crying out at once, "Wake up." He did, gasping, sitting bolt upright in bed with dried blood under his fingernails again, and a name on his tongue that he didn't remember learning. Red Haven. He opened his laptop, searched it. Red Haven wasn't a town. It was a private facility, long shut down. Used to be a government site for psychic studies. Cold War era. Rumors of mind experiments. Dream tracking. Behavioral imprinting. One of the directors listed in an archived PDF? Connor Lyle. Marcus realized then that this was never about a killer following him. He was following the killer. In his sleep. Through memories that weren't his. Through timelines bent out of shape. He wasn't dreaming about murders, he was reliving them, pulled like a magnet through layers of psychic residue left behind by something far older, far more orchestrated than a single man with a crowbar. It was a program, a system, a loop, and he was the anomaly. He stared at his reflection for a long time, half expecting it to move again. It didn't, but the message on his laptop did. A new email. No sender. No subject. Just a line. Subject 8 has entered the dream. And attached, another photo of a woman he'd never seen before, smiling, holding a cup of coffee, timestamped for tomorrow night. If this story shocked you, subscribe for more true crime stories that sound unbelievable but are 100% true. Drop a comment below. What would you have done in Marcus's shoes?